Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia back with another episode. The news never stops and neither does Wrestlelamia. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including the WWE's next potential main eventer, clues where Zack Ryder is headed next, Bruce Prichard reveals what really happened between Vince McMahon and Nails, and more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. New WWE Video Game. With the cancellation of WWE 2K21, 2K announced that they will instead be giving us another WWE game. Just hours ago, 2K officially announced WWE Battlegrounds, the successor to WWE All-Stars. The game looks really fun with over-the-top moves, and hey, who doesn't want to see their favorite WWE superstar get eaten by a crocodile? Let's hope 2K and Saber Interactive, not Visual Concepts, give us a polished and working game. WWE Superstar setting the stage for a run in AEW? There's more evidence that Matt Cardona, who worked in WWE as Zack Ryder, could be heading to AEW. WrestlingNews.co is reporting that Cardona recently filed a trademark for Internet Champion, and that Cardona has used the same trademark attorney who handles trademarks for a number of AEW stars. As noted in an earlier video, Cody Rhodes is a close friend and recently praised Cardona on social media. Vince McMahon's new project? If you watched the 10th April edition of SmackDown, you may recall seeing Sheamus destroying what seemed to be just another enhancement talent opponent. However, according to WrestlingNews.co's Paul Davis, wrestler Cal Bloom is being seen by Vince McMahon and others as not only a potential rising star, but even more. Everyone's comparing him to a young Edge, said one WWE source. He's rough around the edges, but he has something, and Vince thinks he can be a big deal, but it'll take some time. The same source noted that Vince feels Cal has the size and look and moves around well in the ring despite his lack of experience. The coaches at the Performance Center have also had good things to say about him. If the name Bloom sounds familiar, you may recall his father Wayne the Train Bloom, who wrestled in the WWF as Bo Beverly, one half of the Beverly Brothers with partner Mike Enos, aka Blake Beverly, and as the Destruction Crew in the American Wrestling Association. As we've seen, being a second-generation superstar is no guarantee of success, nor is being on Vince McMahon's favorites list, as seen with past favorites such as Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. Triple Threat Dream Match in AEW? With a number of recently released WWE superstars either on or soon to be on the open market, it looks like some of them are already positioning themselves for a potential tag team dream match. According to a recent story at Wrestle Talk, two WWE stars who were released last week have taken to Twitter to express interest in a three-way tag match against the Young Bucks and Revival. It started with a tweet from Carl Anderson who, along with Doc, Luke, Gallows, look likely to rejoin Bullet Club when their non-compete clauses run out. A match between any of those teams would be phenomenal, but what about a triple threat? AEW has raised the bar for tag team wrestling since its debut, but this could set a new standard. Just to add to the excitement, Dax Harwood, who wrestled as Scott Dawson in the Revival, added, "Just make sure you bring the Saudi trophy." This is definitely one of those mark-out moments that makes you glad there's more than one major wrestling organization. Lance Archer talks ideal opponent. While it looks like Lance Archer is setting his sights on Cody Rhodes, the Murder Hawk Monster talked to Busted Open Radio about who he'd like to face in his new home of AEW. Just based on the guys I've worked with in the past, and thinking about those things, Pac is one of those guys. He's one of those guys that I think he brings that strong style that I like to bring myself. You have the dual dynamic of the monster and the high flyer. That guy can do all these amazing, cool, crazy things, but he brings that fight. Both wrestlers are being built up as monster heels, and a heel versus heel feud would help set AEW apart from the WWE, where long-term programs between heels are rare. Pac has done much in rehabilitating his reputation as a second-rate wrestler from his time in the WWE, and Archer is coming off a big run in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Would you want to see these two heels battle each other in an extended battle? Let us know in the comments below. Who Chris Jericho plans to wrestle when he retires? Since Wrestlelamia is talking about dream matches and who wrestlers want to face, let's stay on topic, this time discussing Chris Jericho's reported opponent for his last match. First things first, don't get worried that Chris Jericho is retiring anytime soon. The multiple-time world champion, including his recent reign as AEW's inaugural world champion, has stated he has no plans of retiring in the near future. But when he does, he knows exactly who he wants to face: Lance Storm. According to WrestlingNews.co, a fan recently asked Storm on Twitter whether the rumor that Jericho wants his last match to be against Storm are true, and Storm replied, "We've both talked about doing that." Storm and Jericho teamed together in Japan, Mexico, and Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and met while training at the Hart Brothers School of Wrestling. Christian talks Edge's return to the ring and future opponents. Edge's longtime tag team partner and friend Christian recently appeared on The Bump to discuss the Rated R Superstar's return to the ring and what he sees as Edge's next big match after defeating Randy Orton at WrestleMania. "I would love to see Braun Strowman kick his ass. That's the thing. The word dream match is thrown around quite a bit, and I mean, if you think about it, there's all these possibilities. Like, what if Edge could face Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins, or a guy like AJ Styles? It's crazy to think how long they both have been in the industry and they've never crossed paths. They've touched briefly in the Royal Rumble, give or take. I think that's a match that people would salivate over. I also think about a character like The Fiend, taking Edge on a ride through the Funhouse. There are so many ways that this could go. There are way too many potential matches for Edge, especially when you consider he's rumored to only have to wrestle 5 matches per year. Drew McIntyre calls Vince McMahon a visionary. Current WWE champion Drew McIntyre has come a long way since his first run in the WWE and his later return, slowly climbing his way to the top of the WWE mountain, impressing a number of fans and colleagues. During an interview with Rebellious Noise, Drew praised Mr. McMahon, talking about his ability to think ahead. "Vince has a crystal ball. He seems to predict the future. I think he was talking about the network long before there ever was a network. There's various other examples. He said future world champion, he didn't specify when it was going to happen." As fans know, McMahon saw something impressive in McIntyre when he first signed with the WWE, and while Drew fell out of favor, Vince believed in giving him a second chance, one that paid off immensely. Bruce Prichard talks legendary fight involving Vince McMahon. As Wrestlelamia has noted in past videos, Bruce Prichard, who worked as Brother Love on screen and as a key creative figure backstage, spent considerable time in the WWF and WWE through some key periods in the promotion's history. One of the oddest is the much-discussed confrontation between former WWF superstar Nails, aka Kevin Washolz, and Vince McMahon over an alleged pay dispute. Wrestling lore has it that Nails throttled McMahon and then filed a police report claiming McMahon tried to sexually assault him, with Nails claiming this just to protect himself if McMahon filed assault charges. However, despite what's been written about the incident, including a detailed description in Bret Hart's memoir Hitman, Prichard claims it's unlikely if any blows were thrown, and that little of the truth has come out. According to Prichard, McMahon called the police. He called them right then because they came and took a statement. It was fast. It was not much other than somebody go and tell Kevin he needs to go and get his bag and go, and I believe it was Jack Lanza who did that, either Jack Lanza or Sergeant Slaughter. They went, and Kevin left, but he called the police first, and he waited outside for the police to get there to talk to them. Then the police came in and talked to Vince. Prichard discussed how frustrating it can be to hear or read stories that are treated as fact when they're not even close. "When I read things that are just completely fabrications that are printed as fact and printed as this happened, this is how it happened, when it's nowhere near how and or what happened, you get overloaded and it's frustrating. Just really frustrating. And I think that's what everybody was feeling, especially Vince, who's put in a really position. Wrestling is an industry that is founded on deceit and continues to deceive fans and wrestlers alike, so it should come as no surprise that many stories have been blown out of proportion to the point that fans have little idea what actually happened. Some fans still think the Montreal Screwjob was a work, another example of fans' unwillingness to believe anything that comes from a wrestler's mouth. NXT star talks asking for a release 2 months ago. Brazilian superstar Tainara Conti is one of several NXT performers who were axed recently from WWE. But in a recent YouTube, Conti discussed how despite appreciating the fantastic opportunities she had in the WWE for over 2 years, she felt it was time to go, as she felt like she wasn't growing. "I asked for my release about 2 months ago, and they were not able to give it to me by then, and I had no option but to try again. Then in the middle of the pandemic, I was at home and I got a call. 'Hey Tay, bye.' They released me. Of course, it was a shock. I was upset, I was nervous. But you know, now that I figured out everything, I'm happy because I want to have good feelings about WWE in my heart, and I will always have it. Conti went on to say that she intends to stay in the grappling game and wants to pursue her dream of wrestling in Japan. The 24-year-old Jukota has lots of time left to pursue her career. Well guys, there you have it, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. What did you think of these stories? Be sure to leave your comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.